Today, I want to talk about turning 30. So, tomorrow I turn 31, and that's a pretty weird feeling. Because I barely feel like I'm 30. I actually barely feel, I don't know, I feel like I lost some years. And I know I'm not the only person who feels that way. But I do feel that way. And I'm not who I thought I was going to be 10 years ago, which is a weird feeling. But I do like who I am, and I'm proud of what I've done. And I'm so grateful for you all. The people who decided to watch my channel and who decided that anything I do is worth paying attention to. You know, I recently read Rick Rubin's book, The Creative Act, A Way of Being. And he talks about creating for creating's sake, creating for creation's sake, which is definitely the way I've tried to do what I do now. I mean, if you think about my albums, when I was younger, I used to put out a couple albums a year, one album a year. And my last album came out in 2020. My next one might make it this year. We'll see. But I'm really proud of it. I'm really proud of the work I've been doing. And I'm really proud of the audience I built here, and grateful for the audience I built here, who cares at all about any of this. This is the Arturia AstroLab, by the way. Thank you so much to Zzounds for sending this over. It is the Arturia V collection, essentially. Well, it's analog lab in a standalone keyboard for performance. It's a piano stage keyboard. But it also happens to include a bunch of my favorite VSTs in a hardware device, which is a big reason why I wanted to try it. Anyway. I don't know. I think the weird thing for me about turning 31, well, one of the many weird things, is sometimes I don't really feel like I am alive, like I'm living the life I want to live. I think I just have a lot of existential dread. I think this is the first year, being 30, this is the first year that I've really started thinking about how I'm gonna die someday. And really feeling the weight of that. And it's freaking me out, man. I wish I could say I have an answer to that, but I don't really. Just a lot of oh gosh. If I let myself sit and think about it too much, I get on the verge of a panic attack, basically. And I am. I used to get anxious a lot, actually, when I was younger. Really anxious. In high school, I would get these panic attacks all the time, especially my sophomore and junior year. And it really messed with my ability to make friends and hang out with people and be a normal person. So I would just be inside a lot in my room, and I would work on music. I was just starting to learn music production. I had a band, and then I couldn't get rides to my drummer's house anymore. And so I became a solo electronic pop artist. And it's weird how these things that felt like negative events became the catalyst for so many positive things in my life. My grandma's very religious, and she would call that, I forget exactly how she put it, it's like God takes these horrible things and then from the ashes makes something beautiful out of it. And I think that can kind of erase the brutality of some things. Like not everything is a beautiful story, and I think jumping straight to silver linings is actually detrimental. But along with that, at a certain point, as you start to process trauma or you start to process the hard things you've been through, there can be a beauty in being realistic in both directions and recognizing the good things that happen and the bad. And I'm really grateful for the good things that happen despite the bad. And I'm really grateful for you. I'm grateful that in my day job and in my life, I've been able to have the means to live in a place like this on my own, to get out of a breakup in a really rough living situation over a year ago now, where I was more depressed and more sad than I've been in a long time. And to be here now. And I wouldn't say I'm like thriving necessarily, but I'm alive. And I'm grateful to be alive. I've had some rough days for sure recently. But I've had more beautiful days recently too. I've been reconnecting with friends and really diving into this album I'm working on. And I'm really excited about it. And it feels like all this gear I focus on the channel and all the practicing I do is actually making me a better musician and a better artist. And that's a really good feeling. Nah. How do we go to my liked sounds? Go back. There we go, liked presets. Let's try this one. I really hope I live a long life. And I hope I do more things. So much of my younger years, all of my 20s, a lot of my 20s, I look back on and I feel like I didn't do enough, like I didn't live enough. I focused a lot on my career, a lot on surviving and getting out of poverty. And now I'm not anymore, and I'm so grateful for that. But I also feel like fear, not the fear of poverty. Sometimes you can't control those circumstances, but outside of those circumstances, I feel like I didn't go out. That anxiety I talked about earlier, it followed me into my 20s, and it stopped me from doing a lot of things, and it stopped me from being as honest as I could be. And if I could tell anybody who went through what I went through, if I could talk to younger me, that would be like the biggest thing I would say, is I understand why you're afraid, and I understand why things are hard. But you gotta do it, man. You gotta just try, you know? Really try. And I know I did, and maybe I'm being too hard on myself. But you gotta tell people how you feel, but you also have to appreciate what you have in life and your friendships. But you also need to be real, because there's no point in standing yourself down and trying to be somebody who you think somebody would like if that's not who you like, and if you wouldn't even like the person you try to make yourself to be. Not all the presets on this keyboard have a high polyphony count, and that's a little bit of a bummer, but a lot of them do, and they sound really nice. And like I said earlier, I was pretty excited when this keyboard was announced, or maybe I didn't say this, but I was excited when this keyboard was announced because I really like the plugins. But let's talk about the things people are mad about. People are upset that it's not more of a hands-on, deep control synthesizer. This is a performance instrument. And I understand that, I do. There's a part of me, especially the part of me who's gotten more into sound design, that would love having the V collection, all of Analog Lab, Pigments, in a standalone instrument that I could actually like do full sound design with. And I have to hope that that's on the way, maybe? But that's not what this is. This is designed for stage performance. For people who, you know, work with these plugins and would love to have them in the real world without having to have a computer with you. And then for weirdos like me who want a standalone piece of gear and then also want to use other gear, SP404 Mark II. I'm so new to this thing, I'm not even going to include it in this video because I need to learn it before I talk about it. But pairing something like this with something like that, a lot of opportunities, a lot of possibilities. Pairing something like this, something like the Ableton Push 3, a lot of opportunities, a lot of possibilities. But if you're going into this hoping it's going to be some kind of deep sound design hands-on synthesizer, you're going to be disappointed, straight up. Also, important to note, or maybe not, I don't know, Zzounds sent this over to me, like I said, and this key right here, I think this is F1, it's kind of like piano action, like everything else. Synth action, piano action. I was talking to a new friend of the channel, Bob Eats, And he said he believes it is broken. So I'm gonna reach out to Zzounds and see if we can swap it out. I don't think this is Arturia's fault because the box had damage right around the same area. So if I get a replacement one and it has the same issue, I'll let you know. But I think this is specific to this unit. One of the big reasons I was excited about this keyboard is I do want to do live performance. And I've been really trying to wrap my head around how I would perform my music. There's so many ways you can go about it. You could, take your instrumental, sing over it. You could try to recreate the whole thing in real time with pieces of hardware. The Ableton Push 3, Machine Plus, the Akai Force, throw in a Mini Freak, throw in the Syntact, throw in what have you. And I've been thinking about this idea, Bad Snacks does this, Sarah the Instrumentalist does this, a few other artists I really like have done this, but they take the components of their music and they put it on an SP404 and then they play something and sing at the same time. And it was like the stars aligned when this thing was announced. And I didn't hear about it until it was announced. I was not in the insider window on this one. And it was announced and I was like, this looks so cool, this sounds so cool. And I didn't even realize people were upset at it until later. Because to me, if I could use something like the SP or the Ableton Push and this, and a microphone, and have like a 3-piece setup, 3 or 4 piece, I might throw an MPC in there so I can use the live pitch correction. And if I throw an MPC in there, I might not use the SP, I don't know. We'll see. But that's where I'm like, okay, these are synths I use in my album and so many of my projects. And they sound so good. And if I did get into sound designing with the V Collection and then wanted to bring those presets over, I could, because I already have the V Collection. I think life can be really brutal. And I think when things are going good, after things have been like hard for a long time, like brutal for a long time, I think people, and myself for sure, can have this feeling of like, when is the other shoe gonna drop? And I think the other shoe might be the end. And I think what we have is the time between now and then. And then something's after that maybe, but it's something so far beyond what our brain can possibly imagine that it overwhelms to even contemplate it, at least for me. And I think a lot of people. But the process of playing music, of creating music, of playing with sounds, that puts me in what you'd call a flow state. sometimes even making these videos, I finish the process and I snap out and I feel my skin and I feel like I wasn't even in my body, and then I am again. And I think that's a good thing. It can be overwhelming, but I think it's a good thing. Anyway, I turn 31 tomorrow and I'm freaking out a little bit, but I also feel more relaxed than I felt a year ago. I really wanted my 30th birthday to be this big thing. I wanted all these people to plan this amazing event for me, and that's just not really where I'm at in life right now. And of course, I kind of wish that's what tomorrow would be too, and I know it won't be, but that's okay too. We have to build the life we want sometimes, and I'm in the middle of building a foundation, but I think the next few years are gonna be really cool. Oh yeah, the aftertouch on this keyboard is monophonic, and the aftertouch window is a little small. But overall, I really like this thing. I think it's really cool. I'm gonna make a real video about it. This is just being existential, talking out loud, thinking out loud. I hope this is interesting to somebody, because I'm being really self-indulgent in this video, but guess what? It's my birthday. Well, tomorrow, so it's fine. Okay. Legitimately, thank you from the bottom of my heart to everyone who has liked any of my videos, commented on any of my videos, who's shared their experiences with me, who watches my videos but doesn't comment or like, who just watches it and enjoys it, who's listened to my music. That means a lot. I know it's stupid, like the YouTube is big, relatively big, bigger than anything I've ever done. But music is really where my heart is. Sometimes I don't think of this channel as art. Like, I like this channel. I'm very grateful to have this channel, to have this platform, but my music, that's where my heart is. Even if I don't put as much time into it as maybe I should. I think I got burned on thinking I was gonna be the next big thing for years and years and years, and now I'm too old to be a prodigy, and I'm too old to be an ingenue. But I have you, and I'm very grateful for that. And I'm making the best thing I've ever made. Not this right now, this is improvisation. But this album I'm working on, it's gonna be great. And I love it already, and that's really all that matters. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next week with something probably less existential, but who knows? Maybe we'll lean harder into existentialism. Peace.